Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love, with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop podcast, a podcast where a lawyer and a psychotherapist talk about pop culture. I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
Hello, I'm Brooke Brigham, and I'm the lawyer.
So today we're going to talk about the Kardashians, and we had some people that feel like, why do we keep talking about the Kardashians? But we're talking about season 2, and we've watched now episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those are the 4 that we're going to cover today. So, and I've been dying to know from Brooke, because when the first episode came out, Brooke had a lot of feelings and a theory about the show. And I, of course, was very confused because the timeline was off. And then when you watch the second episode, they tell you that. Maybe I'm the only idiot that was like beyond confused by the timing of the first episode. But obviously they've crammed all the Khloe stuff into one full story.
Yeah, they seem to feel like they had to give an explanation, like up front, of the Khloe stuff. Never mind that it's been in the news for months. We know the baby has been born. We knew it. I think they announced it, I don't know, not that long ago. They came out with a statement that said yes. A few weeks before that final scene in the gym where Kim calls her and tells her about Tristan, that they had done this embryo transplant. And so Khloe wanted to go on, make sure that everybody knew that she had no idea that was done before this. She would never choose to do this way. But by the time it comes on, it's kind of old news. And so it's like, yeah, Khloe, we know, we figured it out. It's not a secret. And then they spent the entire show just rehashing the same stuff, like Khloe being sad, and she just kept saying the same stuff over and over again, how she can't believe this. And the thing that bothered me was over and over, she just kept talking about how, she really wanted to have this white picket fence. She even used those words, life. She thought that everything was good with her and Tristan. She really wanted True to have a full sibling. She's so obsessed with this full sibling thing. And all of her sisters are kind of consoling her and being like, oh, poor Khloe. And it's like, wait a minute. Not a single one of you is part of a nuclear family with full siblings. Kylie and Kendall are not full siblings with the other 3, 4. And it's just like, why is Khloe this punching bag for all these people? It's like none of you have an intact nuclear family where you have children with the person you're with, and
Kylie does.
Well, she's not really in a real relationship.
You don't think she's in a real relationship with?
No, I mean, he's rumored to be in a whole nother relationship with somebody else.
Oh, that's a hot gossip, right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't think that theirs is a real relationship at all. And we don't see them doing anything together. They come out for events or whatnot, but I think that again, Khloe is made out to be this. I think she feels badly about herself. Obviously, Kris feels badly because everyone talks too about how Khloe might not be Robert Kardashian's daughter. Kris had multiple affairs when they were married. She doesn't look like any of her siblings. And I just think that, she has been the target of all this brokenness. It all gets focused on her. Like, poor Khloe.
So who's the target of the brokenness? Meaning the family targets or the society or the world?
The family.
Okay.
The family. I think the family does it to her. The way they treat her. And even her friend Malika, who also is not in a relationship with her baby's father. And even she's coming over and everyone's like, oh, poor Khloe, like there's something wrong with her. No, none of you have this or what Khloe is upset about or sad about. It's like they're consoling her, like, oh, poor Khloe,
But I thought they were consoling her and saying poor Khloe because of how it's been very, very public. And I don't know. I mean, listen, do you want to compare and contrast what Tristan has done versus Kanye? Like, I know they're all bad situations.
It's all bad. Look at Rob and Black China.
Oh God,
you don't see people feeling sorry for Black China. I mean, it is. I don't know. It just seems so weird to me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I feel like she always kind of gets othered.
Oh, interesting.
Something
othered.
Different about her. Because the way they fawn over her, like, it's like, but you guys all go through the same stuff too.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
They just focus all on her. Anyway, that really bothered me. I felt like everybody kind of made Khloe the victim, and hopefully once and for all, this is it.
Yeah, this is the writing on the wall that she needed for sure. I just thought it was kind of funny how the whole episode, because I have the closed captions on, so when there's ambient sounds, right, they'll put the words, and so there was like birds chirping, and then very dramatic music, like ah. And it had that flavor of like a 1980s very special episode,
an after school special.
After like someone has done drugs and we're all gonna, take it. This comedy is gonna take it seriously.
Oh yeah, it was so serious.
But the thing is that, and I think we obviously said this last time, Khloe was really not built for this life. No. She was not built for this life. Kim was built for this life. Kris Jenner was built for this life, but Khloe was not built for this at all. And that's the main thing, is I think to myself, if this wasn't her family, if this wasn't her situation, I do wonder if she would be a lot happier. If she would, I think, all the money in the world can't.
Well, because she has to compete with her sisters.
Yeah.
She has to be as pretty as them. She has to have children when they have children, have relationships. It's just this competition, mostly with Kim, I think. I mean, Kourtney, I think, does whatever she's going to do. But, yeah, I feel like she feels compelled. Like, I have to do all these things. But it's like, but Kim's marriage didn't work out. Why so much focus on Khloe, poor Khloe? I didn't hear any poor Kim. In fact, going back to last season, that dinner where everyone came to Kim's house and Kim kind of apologized for Kanye's behavior, no one said a word.
Yeah.
They just sat there and were like, oh, okay, yeah. No one was saying, oh, poor Kim, she's been through so much.
Oh, that's true. You know what? I did not think about that. So Kourtney was on a podcast. I didn't listen to it. It's podcast is called, what is it? It's like skinny, but not skinny. And
not skinny, but not fat.
Yeah. And she talked about how Khloe and Kim are a lot closer these days. than she is with them. And I do think that's the other part of it too, is I think that that somewhere along the way, maybe because Kim and Khloe were having babies around the same time, they got very close, and maybe that's where she feels this competition to look so thin, to look so this, to look so that, all of it.
Yeah, she seems to copy what, Kim decided to, suck the fat out of her, BBL and slim down, and so then Khloe started doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like she just follows whatever Kim does.
Yeah. Well, this was my question the whole time. And this is, I actually was Googling, trying to figure out, right? We know why people cheat, and we know why people do the things that they do. There's lots of reasons why people cheat. But I really want to know, I would love to sit down with Tristan and say, what did you think was going to happen? Like, what did you think? Did you think that you were going to be able for this not to ever get out? Like, what were you thinking that entire time? Because obviously the biggest deception the whole time was from the moment he found out that he was going to have this other child to the moment in which it came out into the news that he had been holding on to this and sitting on this.
But at that point, what could he have done, number one?
Oh, no, tell Khloe.
Well, but I don't know. Maybe he was hoping that she would never find out. Maybe he was hoping he could somehow pay this woman off. And also, Khloe had taken him back and forgiven him so many times, he probably thought, why should this be any different?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he thought Khloe could not hit rock bottom. And in fact, we still haven't seen whether or not
Oh, you think maybe
she's
going to
stick to this. I mean, they now have a son.
Mm-hmm.
I know that she has full physical or legal custody, but I mean, she's still going to let him see the child. They're still going to have to be together. I don't know. I just think Tristan, he clearly is not going to just have sex with one woman, but he likes being part of that family. Yeah. I think Khloe is a very supportive person. She puts her all into these relationships, and I'm sure he enjoys that support and the perks of being with a Kardashian. He's just trying to clearly get away with whatever he can get away with.
I guess so. I mean, I always think about these stories, about you hear these stories, and there's so many podcasts now about these stories of women who get into these relationships with men and they find out they've been lying the whole time, where they say, oh, go put a down payment on a house and we're going to get this house. And then, of course, when it's the day comes where you have to, produce the money, he's like, oh, yeah, I'll get to my bank. And you know what I mean? There's tons of these stories out there. And I'm always fascinated by, what did that guy think? Like, what did he think? Like, eventually you were going to have to put down payment on the house. Eventually this was going to come out. What was your thought process? But I guess Tristan and I don't think alike.
No. I mean, see, that's the thing, Tess. You're coming from a totally different perspective, that because you would never lie to somebody like that. You would never deceive somebody like that. So that's how these men get with these nice women and stay with them. Because women who are nice and honest, they don't understand their thinking. They don't think someone would ever do that. How could they do that? After it happens about 10 times. But even after it only happens a few times, you still have this idea in your mind of, okay, well, he can't do this again. This isn't going to happen again. You believe the best in people. You don't have the same mindset. So, and he knows that.
Yeah, I guess so.
He knows that she's like a loving, forgiving person. And so he knows there's probably a better than 50-50 chance that he's going to get away with it.
So your prediction is you don't think that he's... Your prediction is that she's not gonna. She may take him back.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if I would predict it, but if it happened, I would not be shocked.
Okay, well,
so we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Look, I don't know. I was very bothered by that first episode about the way they treated her. I felt like they almost kind of dumped on her. It was just too much.
Well, I don't know. I just watching the whole thing, her by herself, and. Okay, maybe I'll get some baby things.
Yeah, she doesn't have a crib. I wondered how much of that was real.
Oh, if maybe, I don't know. I kind of believe that maybe it might have been. I don't know. So all of that was going on when they were recording, when they were taping the first season?
No, it was while the first season was airing, I believe.
Because the season had already started to air while they were still recording. Because all of that came out in the last episode.
So Khloe found out in December of 2021.
Yes.
And the embryo transplant was, she said, a few days before Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So they were clearly still recording around the beginning of December.
And then
I don't know when it aired.
So when you go to episode 2, where they finally give you that explanation, which it would have been nice if they had given that to us in the first episode, but they go back and say, okay, the rest of the whole, this has all been recorded, we're going to go back in time of where we are. And so we go back to Kylie giving birth, which is February, right? So...
Right. I don't know.
It's just weird. It's this very meta thing.
Well, the problem with this show is that it's because of the time lapse, it's difficult because we all know these things before the show airs.
Yeah. And
everything has already been put in we already know.
And that's the problem is that if you're someone who is into pop culture, like you're looking at, Page 6 and Daily Mail and all of this, and you're right. Every single thing that happens, we know about way too quickly. I mean, it's not like I'm digging for it. It's just thrown in your face. You have to be your head buried in the sand not to know what's going on with them all the time. So there is this problem they have with the show of it not really connecting at the time. I don't know.
It would be far more interesting if they tried to film it more in real time or as close to real time as they could. But
it can't be produced.
Can't be produced.
Yeah.
And it is quite a produced show.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, the rest of the season is just boring as all can be.
Yeah, I have not found the rest of it very interesting. No. I'm looking at my notes so episode 2.
So wait, did we miss anything else in episode 1? Did anything else happen?
I mean, it was that whole thing. And they had that party for
the baby shower,
Leo, which I thought was a very cute little theme.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very special Khloe episode. I
have written down here one of Kim's quotes. It's almost like it's not happening because there's no dad to help you pick out colors.
Because Kanye told her every color that she should wear or not wear.
It has to, the nursery has to be beige and off-white.
With big giant boots.
Oh, and then another thing that really bothered me was how Kim told her, well, you have to let Tristan come for the birth because you only get one opportunity to do it. You don't want him to miss it. And I was like, no, he doesn't have to come. He doesn't deserve it. He hasn't earned that. I just felt like there was a lot of Tristan apologizing too. And then I don't know which episode it was, like around episode 2 or 3 later on. There's a scene where Kris is texting with Tristan.
Yes. I was going to talk about that.
And Khloe is literally, okay, well, we'll save that for later. I was shocked. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's episode 1 in a nutshell. I just felt like Khloe's the punching bag.
But I do, gosh, I really do feel for her because I do remember when she had True, and I feel like I saw some scenes somewhere, even though I wasn't watching the show, of, she just found out he was cheating.
Oh, like 2 days before.
Yeah, and then he shows up in the hospital, and the sisters are mad at him, and all of that, and you're just like, God, again, you can't even enjoy your second child's birth. It's really crappy.
It is.
So episode 2 is we're going back in time. We're back to, and Kris is not a very good actress.
No, and Corey is not a very good actor. They have this fake scene that opens the
But the other thing
show.
Is Kylie's baby was born on 2/2/22. Right?
Yeah,
that's
allegedly.
That's a planned date. Come on, people.
Oh yeah,
that.
she had a C-section.
Yeah. So I mean that was very very planned. Come on, it was just.
I also don't think that. I don't know when Khloe had Kylie had her baby, but that scene was not filmed anywhere close to when she had her. That was such a fake scene.
Which part? Where they go to the hospital?
Yeah, where they go to the hospital. Where he's like, wake up. And she's like, huh, what? And she's
Oh, no, I know all of that was a fake scene. I'm talking about, like, didn't they then go to the hospital after that? I can't remember that.
Yeah, it was, and that I also felt was staged. I felt that was, they just showed up at a hospital one day and filmed something in the delivery room when, and Kylie laid down in the bed and they put a thing around her stomach. I felt like that entire thing is filmed because Kylie doesn't really share anything.
Yeah.
But she's been talked into participating in this show, and so she has to provide something.
Yes. Well, you know, one thing I noticed when Kris was running around going, oh, she needs snacks, and I'm going to get all these snacks. And, of course, if you get an epidural, you can't eat.
Right.
So, and then she's like, oh, let's go get champagne. Then I'm like, oh, my God. In Kris's garage, she's got one of those pizza place fridges. Do you know what I mean? With the glass.
Yeah, the glass door.
Where you go.
Yeah, and it's full of champagne.
It's full of champagne and other things.
And she got her, like, chili cheese chips. I don't think that's good for a laboring mother.
Yeah. Oof. Anyway, yeah. But this is the first time they talk about concerned about Khloe's weight, right? And then the second one was they alluded to the China, Black China lawsuit.
Yeah.
And what's going on with that. But other than that, it was super, super boring.
Well, Courtney was looking. She was with this wedding planner.
I think I tune out.
Yeah,
Courtney
that
sometimes.
wedding planner didn't seem to know her at all.
Yeah,
because she kept saying things, and Courtney's like, "No, that's not how I feel," or whatever. And so, yeah, she's looking at wedding stuff. And then when Kim tells Khloe that she's skinny, Khloe was glowing. She looked. She's like, "Really?"
The model?
Kendall, the model, said I was skinny. She was just thrilled. But
I think it's interesting that Kim dismisses it pretty quickly, right? Like, your other two sisters come to you and say, hey, Khloe, we're worried about her. She's losing a lot of weight. What's going on here? And I'm sure she was very stressed. I mean, I can imagine it was a very stressful time. Mm-hmm. But then Kim's immediately just, well, now I told him, blah, blah, blah. I told them to, that they're wrong, and I'm just telling you this now. And it's like, well,
you're not skinny, no matter what they say.
No, it was almost a little bit of, no, I know what's right, or I know this, and so I'm going to dismiss that. It's like, this is your sister. Why don't you ask her? Why don't you say to her, this is something they've brought up. Are you okay? Mm-hmm. It was just like, God, just speaking for her.
Yeah, and Kim has kind of taken on this role of being the Khloe defender. She just loves to stick up for Khloe. I don't know. And then they did that brain scan.
Oh, yeah. I think I tuned all that stuff out, too.
God.
And that was just filler, right?
Yeah.
That's all just filler. And that doctor,
Dr. Amen.
Yeah, he's very famous. And I've heard, I've heard
on
about
Instagram
him
and TikTok and all that. Yeah, and Khloe got all defensive because, her test said she wasn't resilient, but then when she went in for the scan, he corrected. I don't know. Yeah. It was filler, but it was interesting that they were talking about trauma, and then she was talking about how she was in a car accident in high school and went through the window and had a concussion.
Yeah.
And there was something else, some other head injury. I don't know, but it's like, wow, that's
heavy.
That's new news.
Oh my gosh, something we don't know.
Finally.
So can we move on to episode 3 now? Because
sure, I don't think anything else.
So,
well, what about the Black China lawsuit?
But they didn't even talk about it. I mean, we're going to see it. We're going to see it very soon.
Yeah, probably. Well, it was just Kris's opportunity to, she's like, well, I can't talk about it, but it's causing me so much stress and, it's exhausting and blah, blah. I want to protect my kids. So it almost felt like she was setting up this, a future emotional distress claim or something.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, because they do win the lawsuit. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, but it was not a very credible lawsuit to begin with. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Why would you, if you say you can't talk about it, well, now you're talking about it, and you're sticking it in this show randomly in the middle. You have this little 30-second thing about it. Very, calculated. Anyway.
All right. I have some feelings about episode 3.
Okay. Now, which one is this?
So this is the one where Kris and Corey and Khloe go down to Palm Springs. Okay.
And Kris buys pot.
Yeah. So Kris buys $732. I think that was the total of pot. That's a lot of weed. That is a lot of stuff. I mean, spending, this stuff isn't cheap, but I mean, to spend that much is a tremendous amount. But the way she acted towards it was like, oh, should I take a half or a whole, or like, Miss Innocent. It's like, okay, Kris, Frey Resnick sold you out years ago.
Queen of LA.
Yeah, we all know. It's like, come on, you were doing rails in the 80s. Like, do not sit here and pretend to me like
you're afraid
taking
of
this
pot.
weed gummy is going to just, do you in. It's just kind of this whole idea, and I think you talked about this the last time, of rewriting history, rewriting what it's like. You've put your entire life out there, and we've seen it. And obviously, the murder of Nicole Brown and all of that isn't you putting that out there, but you have been in the public eye even before the show started. So everybody knows, Kris.
Yeah.
People know what you're doing, what you're watching, what's happening, and
Yeah, she at one point, she's like, oh, I don't want to get caught with this. Here, you hold it. Or
so Khloe can go down.
Here, Khloe, you can go to jail. But they kept talking about how it was legal, but yet they're acting like it was contraband.
They had to. She kept saying something like, "Here in California, this is like." It's like, yeah, lady, we all know.
Well, that was a whole nother fakery.
All of that whole thing.
That whole trip to Palm Springs, so much fakery. It's like, come on, people. They've got to start delivering. They've got to share their real life. If you're not willing to share your real life, then get off the show.
Yeah.
I don't know this. I've heard that they signed on for 2 seasons. It was like a 2-season guarantee. I don't even know if it's going to get picked up.
You don't think it will? Interesting.
Well, so far, this season has been so boring.
Yeah.
It's like people are not stupid. We learn more about them on the news than we do in these shows, because then they come on the show and they spin things and they're not showing their real life. They're making up stories, making up storylines. This last week, episode 4, where they tried to give Kendall a storyline about
she's flipping
fixing
houses.
up houses, and
Yeah.
she's so boring and just not compelling.
Well, I want to stay with episode 3
Okay,
here for a second.
go ahead.
So the other one was she talks about, we hear from Kim about Kanye. Some Kanye stuff is starting to heat up in the news, and Kanye starts saying things in the public. And recently, Kanye, present day now, Kanye has, been banned from, I don't know if he's banned.
As of the last couple days.
Yeah, banned from Twitter, banned from Instagram, Facebook.
I don't know.
With some other things. He's made a lot of anti-Semitic remarks and the White Lives Matter sweatshirt and all of that. So, and Khloe wrote a message, a very public message to him.
Saw that.
So this is what I was wondering about. I'm thinking, does Khloe then see all this stuff that's happening with Kim, get on her phone and type that out, or does she go to Kim and her mother and say, "Hey, I think I should respond"? Like, how much of this is raw, personal, like, feelings that you're expressing in the moment, and how much of it is, okay, let me check with these other people to see if this is good for the brand or if this is good for this. I can understand her wanting to check with Kim just to say, hey, I'm going to say something, would it really bother you or not? But I just wonder how much of that, all of that is calculated. Like, how much of their responses and how much of that is thought out ahead of time.
Well, I think that particular tweet or whatever it was pretty calculated.
The Instagram message? I think it was Instagram.
It seemed pretty crafted and thought out to me. I mean, I've seen some responses where she'll just say something short like, please don't do this on social media. You're hurting our children or something like that. I think that's more spontaneous. But I think everything that they do is planned out. And I think they do. I think they, I'm sure they have a full-time, team of crisis managers who, when this stuff happens, they think, okay, how are we going to respond? You got to respond on social media because that's how people see it. It doesn't seem very classy, but it's like, well, that's where people see it. And so they don't want Kim to respond directly, probably. And so they use Khloe. And
here, Khloe again being used.
Yes. Well, and also too, the very first line of that post is, I love you, yay. Yay, whatever they call him. Well, Kanye, isn't it yay?
Oh, I thought it was Yee because of Yeezy.
No.
Maybe it is
I
Ye.
think it's
I
yay,
have no
like
idea.
Kanye.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Anyway, yeah, it's like, I love you, yay. Really? That's how you started? You do not love him. What are you talking about?
Well, it's a nice way of saying, I love you, but...
but you're an asshole. Shut up.
But it's interesting because it's just... God, I just wrote down, like, Kanye must be so exhausting. I mean, I'm exhausted by him, and I have little anything to do with him. I cannot imagine having 4 children with him and just dealing with this all over the place. And we talked about this when we talked about the Kardashians the last time. It's not bipolar or whatever his mental health issue, and it's not the death of his mother. Like, he is saying, this is him. He is saying these things. So what the motivation behind saying these things, I don't know. I have no idea if this is one giant publicity stunt that he's been doing or if this is really, truly what he thinks. But I'm kind of sick of everyone being like, well, his mom died. And
she died having liposuction.
And years ago. And we've all lost people very close to us.
I mean...
And I'm not getting on Twitter and making anti-Semitic remarks. And the other part of it, too, is this whole thing with the mental illness. It's like, I'm sorry, but... this is not someone who's mentally ill. This is not what they do. They don't say these things.
I feel like he does these things right when he's trying to launch some product or project. Because I think, like, right now he's launching something. I don't know what, but I think he puts on a bit of an act to get attention when he wants people to pay attention to him because he's got some project or something. But
this is a real crappy way of doing it.
It's a crappy way of doing it, and I don't know.
A dangerous way of doing it.
I don't know if you want to call it mental illness or just being a jerk, but he's just a jerk sometimes. Just plain and simple. Like,
well, I think the tides are turning. I mean, celebrities are responding and are pissed, and things are, I think the tide is turning, but you're right that if this is his idea of publicity stunt, then there's something deeply wrong with you. Like, if you're thinking that being anti-Semitic or saying really horrendous things or bashing your ex-wife or whatever it is.
Slavery was a choice.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. All of those things, then fine. I mean, it just seems like if this is what you think PR is, then I'm sorry. Then there's a problem. Then we shouldn't be supporting it.
I just don't understand who his fans are. Mm-hmm. I really don't.
But I think what I noticed in episode 3 is you could see how much, and I think this is what was so fascinating about the first season, because I think the first season was much of this new Hulu show. I thought the first season was really much more interesting because it was very much about Kim's sort of evolution and the popularity and getting away from Kanye and making her own decisions and all of that. And they're not really focusing on so much of that, but I do think that part's very interesting. And you can see just in this episode how controlled she has been, like how much she has been made to question her thoughts or what she wants. I mean, beyond the fashion, the stuff that, he's upset with her about what she wore and Milan and all of that. But you can see these moments in time, and you can see it with her relationship with Pete, where, I don't know, it's interesting because I think she's surprised that she'll say something to Pete, or she has this relationship with Pete, and that he's not acting crazy towards her. I think she's so used to being in this dynamic with Kanye that she's in this new relationship. Like when Pete wasn't able to go to space, like you get this sense from her that like, oh God, he's going to be so disappointed. Oh, this is so terrible. And then it's a little bit of like, Pete's like, yeah, it's too bad. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. And in the
She's
meantime, she's so worried about it. She's talking to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Like, is this safe?
But the thing is that But the thing is that she's so concerned, she's so worried, and she seems worried about how Pete's going to feel about not going. And personally, it's just my 2 cents. I think that when things didn't work out for Kanye, I think it was a big deal, and I think he acted really probably out of control or mean towards her. So now she's a little traumatized. Like, I'm dating this person. This person's been disappointed by something. How will they react?
Right.
So
she's expecting some kind of
craziness.
Yeah. And, you know, the more I see of this, the more I think that Pete broke it off with her because I think it was just too much for him. Because she seems to really be enjoying it. And, you know, she's in this episode talking about about the space and about having sex in front of a fireplace.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is
in front of her
4.
grandmother.
This is episode 4. And everyone has different relationships with their parents and their grandparents. But TMI, who would ever... That's the odd part. You're telling this to your grandmother? Like, what? I just thought that was I'm like, this family is very free.
I guess so. Yeah. Well, I think the grandmother, from what I've heard, the grandmother was a woman who kind of went from, you know, like when her first husband left, kind of like went to other relationships to be, you know, taken care of and for money. And that she sort of groomed Kris to be that way.
Yeah.
And, you know,
kind of a Kathy Hilton.
Exactly.
Big Kathy.
Exactly. Like, you know, just go after these guys with money and, you know. So her grandma is probably not the typical grandma, but still, yeah, she's there in her walker and, you know, Kim is talking about this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. But the variety shoot, because I have, you know, this is where Kim made the comment about getting off your asses and work, and people picked it up. But I want to talk about another comment that before we get to that one, which is one of the questions that the reporter from Variety asked was pertaining to their businesses and being famous and the fact that, you know, how do you get yourself to be taken seriously? That, you know, now the evolution of the Kardashians has been from being this family that's famous for being famous for having all these businesses. And Kris is really annoyed because she's like, you know, I don't understand why they're asking us these questions. They don't ask Jeff Bezos these kinds of questions, as if like this idea of she was trying to make it a male-female thing of how women are perceived. And we all know, we talked about misogyny on this podcast a lot. So I'm not doubting that, but it's a little bit of, hold on, Kris. No one asks that question to Sarah Blakely, who created Spanx, because she created Spanx and now people know who she is.
Right.
Bezos created Amazon and now people know who he is. You were famous first. You
got the
famous
businesses.
First. You might have had businesses, but they were not just like the rest of us trugging along with our own businesses. You know, trust me, if I was famous, I'd be able to sell a lot more of the things that I sell. So, yes, you got famous first, and then you were smart enough to take that fame and turn it into and making businesses, and the businesses have taken off. But I'm like, why are you so incredulous?
Yeah, and
like,
to compare herself to Jeff Bezos, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do work hard. They do create these businesses, but you're right. The only reason people bought their stuff was because they knew them from the reality show or just gossip, you know, whatever stuff, Hollywood stuff that was going on.
And despite talking about them on this podcast, I'm not huge fans. I've never bought any of their products before, but like in the last couple of years, I've heard that Skims are pretty good, you know? And I was like, okay, maybe I'll check out Skims. I mean, you have this platform that is huge. It's just, hello, you know, no one's going to buy your shapewear if you weren't Kim Kardashian. It doesn't mean that your shapewear isn't good, and it doesn't mean that it isn't something, but that's the connection to it. Just like I'm sorry, no one would be buying Kanye's clothes if he was not Kanye, right? I mean, there's that part of it too, and we all see it.
Yeah, no one would be buying those stone trash cans that Kim is selling for like $150.
So, but I don't know if we talked about this when this happened. What was your feeling about Kim's comment about working hard? Did that really bother you, the way the media picked it up and people were pissed?
Yeah, it didn't bother me that much because I knew what she meant.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the way that it came off really badly.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's right. I think we talked about this before. Now with this age of Instagram, whatever, a lot of people think all they need to do is look pretty and post something on Instagram and like everything is supposed to come to them. And, you know, and I think what she was saying was that we didn't just get here overnight, you know, and they haven't. They've been working hard for 20, and they do work hard. You cannot deny that. And I think that's what she was trying to say, is that success is not instant. You know, it takes a long time. And that was all she was saying, is work hard. And it wasn't like she was saying that women don't work hard. But the reality is that whatever you want to do, whether you want to, you know, be like Kim Kardashian or just be the best in your profession or whatever, you just got to literally, it's getting up every day and working hard. And then lo and behold, 20 years pass by and you look around and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this thing.
I'm doing pretty good. So I felt it was like, nothing is some sort of overnight success. There's no such thing as overnight success.
I mean, I took the comments the same way. I do think, obviously, if your father wasn't Robert Kardashian, if your stepfather wasn't Caitlyn Jenner, if your situation was different, that you had this access to be able to, you know, be connected to Paris Hilton and then get attention and then the sex tape, like, you know, all of those pieces. But how she got to where she is today, I think has been incredibly hard work. No one's doubting that. And so I was very surprised when they went to that lunch at the end of the episode, where she seemed very disturbed by the comments. And I'm thinking, wow, this really got under your skin, because people comment about you constantly. Like everything under the sun has been said about you, and you seem to be on Saturday Night Live laughing at yourself. I was very surprised how just mortified she was, how shocked.
Well, I think because it was just taken so the wrong way, and that people were attacking her character. I mean, a lot of people, they attack her looks or, you know, like stuff that she does, but people were attacking her character. And, you know, you talk about, you know, well, she wouldn't be where she is if she wasn't born into this family, whatever. But, you know, maybe she would be. Because she and Kris, the two of them, are very, very driven. We see lots of famous people who their kids don't do anything. So, you know, maybe if she had had even less of those factors or none of those factors, just the sheer determination alone, she could have. I think she's always been very, very ambitious.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. They may have made this work, though. I don't know. Kim talks about this in this episode about watching her mom and seeing how after the divorce, Kris was trying to help Caitlyn get a speaking gigs and all of
she
that.
said they had to move into an apartment.
Yes, an apartment. Oh my God. And how hard that was, and watching her mom and all of that. So I agree with you that that's what she saw. But at the same time, I do wonder if Kris had maybe married someone who had lots and lots of money, right? Would she have?
She wouldn't have had to do.
She wouldn't have had to do all of these things. She wouldn't have become a manager. She wouldn't have put herself in this place. So what would have happened then? I mean, I think that Kim, if they weren't famous, then I think Kim would probably have some really she'd have, you know, some version of California Closets. They love to organize. They love to do that stuff. I think she'd probably build that kind of empire for sure. I don't doubt that, but Kris, I feel like could go either way. I feel like Kris was forced to work really hard out of necessity. Yeah. And then got into it and enjoyed it. But as I was watching this episode, I'm like, where's Kourtney? Where's Kylie? Like, did Kylie just say, peace out, I'm not going to record, I'm here with my baby? Or and we talked about this last time too, where, Kim is the most interesting one. Like, I do, of everybody, I like watching Kim the most, and Khloe probably second out of anybody. But wow, they just...
Yeah, they're really not into it. Well, I think it might have been on the same Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast. I think Kourtney said that she's not really as close to her family anymore. And this was on one of the last seasons of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians show. Kourtney had a falling out with everyone, basically, and said, she even stopped filming for a while because she said, I don't want to be doing this. I don't enjoy this. I want to spend time with my kids. This is not what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
And I'm here because of all of you. She stopped filming. And Kim, especially, was really mad at her and said a lot of nasty things to her. And they even got into a fight, like a physical fight.
Oh, what episode is this? I might have to go back and watch that.
Just Google it. They literally got into a fist fight. Khloe was trying to break it up. And Kourtney's crying and saying, I just don't, leave me alone. You're so mean to me. And I just want to be with my kids. And I don't care about money and da-da-da-da-da. And I think that ever since then, it's been strained and she's not as close with them. And so, like you said, like Kim and Khloe are kind of now.
Well, and so I think this is a bit of Kourtney's bind, right? And I think it's the same bind that Khloe's in, which is she wants to just be, she wants to now be with Travis all the time, but she wants to be with Travis and she wants to be with her kids. But this business and this life before Travis, right, allowed you to be with your kids and allowed you to not have to get up and go to a job every day like everybody else. So...
But now she's married to a really rich guy.
So now maybe she's like, I'm married to this guy now and I forget you people. Maybe she's just going to say, I'm going to be out of this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
She doesn't need the paycheck. I'm sure she's not on the show as much. So I'm sure when she negotiated this new show, she probably negotiated for less time and less money.
Yeah, maybe
and
Kylie did
obviously
the same.
Kylie did too. Kylie has never seemed to care.
Which is so bizarre. And because she's the second wealthiest, right? Because of that damn lip kit.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, that whole thing. I mean, that to me seems so bizarre that she just does this lip kit and it was the biggest thing ever.
She's still selling cosmetics.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and
it just amazes me.
She has a full line. It's just hundreds of products. I mean for years, Layla was
I remember that.
And we were going to these Kylie pop-up stores in San Francisco and waiting in line to get in and get the exclusive stuff and there was like 2 or 3 years in there where every Christmas I was buying those lip kits.
So I mean that's a very good example. If you weren't on this TV show, no one would be buying these lip kits. No one would be rushing to buy this because is it good?
They're expensive too.
Are they better than the average?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I haven't worn lipstick in so long. I don't know anymore.
I have no idea, but she had so many lip kits, lip glosses, makeup, eye shadow palettes, all of it.
Did you notice in the in the lunch that they're having the placement of the 818 tequila?
Oh yeah,
right there, smack dab in the center. I was like, oh, you guys are just working on that 818.
I know.
So
Kendall seems to be kind of stepping it up, trying to hustle more.
I think Kendall's got on that private jet and was like, I want one of these. So I gotta maybe I'm gonna start flipping some houses here and doing this.
I bet you she comes out with a home decor line.
Oh Lord,
something like that.
Yeah, that could be.
That would track with
that would make sense.
The home stuff
for sure. But she's not I'm sure she's a nice person, but she's not captivating. I mean, I really do think that that's the problem with the show is the show should really be keeping up with Kim.
Kim, Khloe, and Kris.
Yeah.
Like the three of them.
I'll keep up with them. Though this last episode with Khloe and the Peacock and Martha Stewart,
that
it's
was
just
so
like,
random.
Oh, God.
Who
cares?
I know. That was very weird and random. And then... Oh, yeah, and there was a whole trip. I don't know which episode. This lasted over a couple of episodes. But, Kim and Kendall went to Milan.
Oh, yeah.
For the Prada show. That was very, very boring. And yeah, Kendall basically slept in the hotel room. Didn't want to do anything. Didn't want to go out.
The best was Kim doesn't know what tortellini is.
Oh, I know. I wrote that down. She asked, what is tortellini?
So it's so funny. It's a little bit like, yeah, I can understand like tagliatelle or, you know, maybe you're getting your flat noodles mixed up. But tortellini is a thing of its own, and it's pretty common.
It's pretty well known.
Yeah, I thought that was really fascinating and really just interesting. Like this one thing that you don't know.
Yeah, and then the fact that they really couldn't find anything that fit her, because after all, she's not a model.
Yeah.
If you go to a true runway fashion show, if you have to be a straight up and down tall stick figure, and they had to put a men's jumpsuit on her.
Yeah, which is crazy.
She looked kind of silly.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy the outfits, but whatever. I mean, I do, right? But I do find her, I do want to see what she's wearing. I do want to see how she styles herself. I do want to see all of that. That is still captivating. But so far, I don't know. I mean, I say we do one more of these at the end and that's it.
Yeah,
this is
not
just
very exciting.
Unless
they pick it up. They pick things up. It's not.
Well, it's also interesting you saw for the scenes for episode 5 where they talked to Kourtney about it seems like you and Travis got married. And she was like, yeah. So it's very obvious that she and Travis went off completely on their own.
Well, they went to Santa Barbara and got legally married.
I thought they went to Vegas and got married.
Well, that was a fake. Okay, first there was the fake Vegas thing where they were spotted it was after the music Billboard Awards or something. They went to a chapel in Las Vegas and they were photographed there and they were really drunk and goofing around. But it turned out they didn't get married there. They were closed.
Oh, I thought they did.
No, but then they got legally married in Santa Barbara before they went to Italy. So I don't know if we're going to see Kourtney's wedding on this.
No, we will.
Season.
They showed episodes. Yeah, I think we'll definitely see that part of the wedding. But again, I think that's another big FU of like, I'm not going to put this wedding on TV. So.
Oh, you think she won't put it?
No. I'm saying the first wedding, going to Santa Barbara, having a private ceremony. I just feel like that's showing us more and more of these are the boundaries that I'm going to set. Like
I'm going to have a private thing.
Yeah, I'll do this big Italy thing and I'll let you guys film it if you want, but I'm going to have things that are private to me, which I understand and I respect. And again, that's that whole thing with what we see now with families and Instagram families and TikTok families where one or two people in the family really want this and want that to be in the public eye. And you need the other family members to join in and they, they don't care.
Yeah. Oh, and then we missed the description of how Kourtney washed the dishes naked because she was just
don't care.
She was just walking by and said, "Well, I got to do these dishes." And I'm just fascinated by the money because that house, they have their own house in Palm Springs.
Is that their house in Palm Springs?
I think so.
I thought it was an Airbnb.
It wasn't Chris's house.
No, I thought it was an Airbnb though.
I don't know. They were talking about it like it was their house. Maybe not. I don't know. I wonder how rich Travis Barker is.
Yeah. Well, did he write any of the songs for Blink-182? Because if he wrote some of the songs or any of the songs, then or if the band as a whole had the publishing rights, then yeah, he's probably very, very wealthy.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have the publishing rights, I don't know.
I get the sense he's pretty wealthy.
Yeah.
Just from what I've seen. But I don't know. And I know their band is back together. They're going out on tour.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I wish this was more exciting with these damn Kardashians, but I think what's hurting the show is the fact that they're too famous and everything gets out.
Yeah.
So nothing about the show, nothing's a surprise, nothing's a shock. So personally, I think they should, if they want to have this really interesting reality show, then I think that you've got to like do it documentary style and just like the news, you got to get it out and get it out and get it out and get it out before anything comes out.
Yeah, because we don't see them they're always made up, and yet we never see them really like in their natural habitat. Come on, we want to see it.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you like this podcast, please go to iTunes and give us a 5-star review. And anything else you'd like to share? Yeah.
Oh, no, not at this
Subscribe.
time. Not at this time.
Yeah.
Subscribe and give us a review if you like the show. And
if you don't, please just keep moving along.
It's okay.
All right.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing mountain dew. So give me my good friends, give me a dew.
Grab some friends and an ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.